Welcome to the Champ We Are United podcast, the number one football comic-based podcast dealing with the whole scope of comic book football emotions, from the glory of European silverware to the lightheartedness of Where's Billy's Boots, then getting serious as one of our comic book heroes gives his life on the field of play, all to secure the future of his club. I am your host, Paul Tangent Richardson, the tangential one, and this is episode 99.
Yeah, 99.
You've probably heard a few of them there in the background, but let me introduce you to my fellow team members here in the studio for this episode. A founding member who has been here since episode 1. If you're a friend of the show, he will create you a theme tune, whether you want one or not. He brings not just his comic book knowledge, but 1,000 voices. Hello, Goal.
Well, good evening, Paul. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. Just before you do the rest of the intros, out of interest, hang on a second. What's that, Dot?
Oh, there you go. I've got some ghosts for you.
I'll let them in then. All right. Oh, yeah. So, who's this then? No way! It's only the revolution of Prince fame. Wow.
Wow.
What are you coming here to do? Oh, right. Okay. Right. Here we go. Yeah. Right. You can start now. We're recording our new podcast. Forgive us if it goes astray. Because Tangent Paul is hosting, we'll be here until the end of May. Thanks, The Revolution. Bye.
Oh, fantastic special appearance there from the Revolution. Thank you very much for.
I haven't finished yet. I've got my own. Ready?
Yeah.
Tonight we're gonna party like it's episode 99. Oh, it is episode 99, as you were. Sorry.
Very good. Wow. Brilliant golf. As always, dealing with all our special studio guests there. Thank you very much. Well, then, on to a man that has not only introduced us to the ghostly comic book footballers, but has started to bring a sinister element to the pod as he morphs into an East End gangster, ready to deal with Rod Powell. It's Neil Bygone Grandad Gangster Brinsden Berrigan.
Thanks for the introduction. I've forgotten what my real voice sounds like now. Thank you for the introduction. I hope everybody enjoys episode 99. Looking forward to it again.
I tell you what, episode 99, I hope we get this licked.
Oh.
Don't go flaky on me.
Oh, no, do you know what? I was going to try and get in there before, but there you go. Right, next up, it is a man that brought you the early era of the goals of Jimmy Grant, but is now moving us through the illustrious history of Riverton United from the pages of the Champ comic, having provided us with his unique, dramatic and atmospheric delivery of the first 3 issues so far. It's the voice of reason, Simo.
Good evening, Paul. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good. Excited to be here on episode 99. And of
99.
course, really looking forward to your further adventures of Riverton United.
Yes, we'll have another pop at that again this week and see if I can bore the pants off you.
Never.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I've heard you're easy, Paul.
Well, we'll go into that later, maybe. Anyway,
Easy to
completing
impress, and Matt's even easier, as he'll drop his pants for anybody by the sound of it.
Well, I'm still going to introduce him, but you might have heard who is completing the lineup in the studio tonight, or whenever you might choose to listen, is the man that has picked up the amazing Red Book from Eamon Andrews. Andrews, of course, famous for brandishing the Red Book on This Is Your Life to countless celebrities. That mantle has been passed on as the pod takes a look into the famous comic book characters' lives. Yes, it's none other than Mute Button Matt. Oh, I struggled with that bit for some reason.
Yeah, you did well then. It's like, yeah, hi, Paul, hi, everybody. Episode 99. I am slightly disappointed with the Revolution coming in. I was hoping for Nana and 99 Red Balloons.
Wow.
But
if I was a gambling man, I'm sure there'll be some more. Yeah, exactly.
Matt and I in a little toy shop buy a load of pods with the money we got. Set them free at the break of Simo. No, I haven't got nothing really. Sorry.
Good. Okay.
Right, let's
carry on, Paul.
bring this back to order. So, an update on Ridders. Yes, that most famous of Evertonians is currently in discussion with the pod board about what seems on the face of it to be a large bar bill that he and Alex Hedgehog Jones have run up at the Cavern Club as they continue to celebrate the return of David Moyes to Goodison and the 2 victories he's secured. But both Ridders and Hedgehog say the bill should be covered by expenses as the two were discussing content for the 100th episode. I'm sure more of that to follow before an update in the 100th episode. Well, that's all of our squad members here. So let's take a look at the running order for this episode 99.
99.
Yeah, do you know what? I left the pause and I wasn't sure if he was going to take it or not. So we shall start with our social media feedback, otherwise known as Melvin's Musings, which Matt will bring to us. Then we will have week 4 of the We Are United story from Simo. And then we've got another comic book life of Sammy Spangler, this time from Mute Button. And then we've got the Iron Man, which is the second appearance in the Football Picture Story monthlies of Klein and Powell, bought by, well, one of the 2 voices of Neil Gangster Brinsden Berrigan, but we should wait to see what happens there. Then we will have a little final call and chat about the 100th episode. And of course, it'll be on to us tell you about our media sites and how you can contact us. And then we shall say our goodbyes. So without further ado, if that's all right, then Matt, I shall hand over to you for the social media feedback.
Thank you, O Tangential One.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, right. So we kick off with the Melster himself. Do we have a theme tune?
No, they're all being saved for next week.
Excellent. Okay, here we go. The headline: Talking points galore as Champ We Are United milestone celebrations nears. So, as the Champ We Are United team edge ever closer to a momentous century of episodes, Gull resumed the captaincy and theme tune duties. The team's talisman was on song throughout episode 98 and appears to have completely shaken off any injury concerns, which, together with his Panto commitments, have kept him and Doc Cotton out of the side in recent weeks.
Oh,
However, is Tangent Pool okay? This was the burning question posed by Hamish Witter and other concerned Poddy supporters. Rumours suggest that Tangent Paul is being wrapped up in cotton wool for the next couple of fixtures in order to ensure that he's fit enough for the 100th episode. He's hosting tonight. So... The Tangential One, who remained in his technical area throughout this matchup, is thought to be dogged by severe chafing caused by his heavy-duty knee-length sheepskin coat that he wore during his recent Cup Winners' Cup final commentary.
No comment.
The shearling-lined coat which Tangent discovered in his grand's loft is said to have once belonged to the legendary football commentator John Motson. Meanwhile, perhaps even more of a worry, Bygone Berrigan has developed a Cockney accent, which he picked up during his Klein and Powell feature this week. It's thought that prior to kick-off, the podcast's official football comic historian and correspondent for the Northwest had either been watching Dick Van Dyke in the Disney classic Mary Poppins or spent too much time in the company of Roy Race's biggest critic, Trevor Brinsden. It's been suggested that Bygone will undergo intensive treatment prior to episode 99, could even seek help from Professor Henry Higgins, a renowned Harley Street scholar of phonetics, to reverse what could be a case of EDS or Eliza Doolittle syndrome. That said, a final decision has yet to be made on whether a consultation with the professor will take place or not, as it's thought that travelling south of the Watford Gap, never mind to London itself, could worsen Bygone's condition and cause him to become addicted to pie and mash with liquor sauce, or even jellied eels. Despite his linguistic woes, Bygone Berrigan, aka Bygone Brinsden, as opposed to AKAs, battled bravely on and didn't disappoint at all with his section which focused on Divided City, the seminal Football Picture Story monthly edition that established the enduring rivalry between Kevin Kline and Rodney Powell. Simo, who actually kicked proceedings off with part 3's epic We Are United Origins feature, thankfully had no injury worries at all. Indeed, there wasn't even any sign of the tech gremlins, which can be extremely painful. That nearly sidelined the voice of reason last time out. It has to be said the podcast's VOR official showed great quality within the final third as he recounted how the fiery Alex Hedgehog Jones burst onto the scene with Riverton United and even impressed Terry Evans. As the pod went deep into added time, Mute Button Matt, who was remarkably still full of running, managed to expose both the footballing and sibling rivalry between picture story soccer stars Jack and Jimmy Chelsea. The podcast pundit tracked all the way back to when Castleberg's most famous sons had separate comic strips, Jack of United and Jimmy of City, which appeared within the pages of the dual comic Score and Roar. All round, it was another impressive performance from the mute button maestro. You played a blinder team. That's it. Brilliant stuff,
Yeah.
Melster.
Thank
yeah.
you, Mel.
As always.
As
Yeah.
always. Yeah, appreciate that.
Right.
Amazing. Anyway, moving on from Melster, we have, Scott Melvin. So another
Hey.
Melv. Another Melv.
Hey.
Hang on. Well,
Is-
we've got
is
to do another thing.
No, you're fine. You're fine for now.
Not
You're
yet,
probably
not
fine
yet,
for now.
not yet. You're saving it for the 100th.
Scott's only just recently started listening to the podcast. He goes, brilliant podcast, lads. Got hooked into the Melchester European Cup Winners' Cup part 1 to 4 and now starting my way through all the other episodes. Keep up
Good
the
luck
good
with
work.
Yeah. Good
Welcome,
luck,
Scott. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for joining the Motley crew. Moving on to the Champion United Facebook page. There's quite a few comments here. So George Prince
Yes.
chime in. No. Oh God, he's definitely he's saving his vocal.
He really is the
for
prince of the
100th
show.
episode,
Friend of the show. Friend
No,
of the
nothing
show.
until episode 100.
We've had the revolution, haven't we? So yeah,
Yeah.
we-
Well,
now we've got
that's
Prince of the
true.
That was the revolution. That was
I'll
it.
I'll see if I can get Mac later.
Okay. So George says, great episode. Great to have Goal back. He adds a bit of humour to the mix, which keeps it fun and informative. Thanks for the theme tune. Looking forward to episode 100. 100?
Whee.
No, it's
Exclamation
fine.
marks. John Evans, another friend of the show. No theme tune for no Belinda
No,
Carlisle this week.
All,
No, okay,
all of them
fine.
will come back in episode 100. But friend of the show.
We want people to listen to episode 100, though, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Just-
I hope so.
Shocking.
John says, absolutely brilliant episode. I'm glad it's been made clear that the pod is about me and my catching up, not about football comics. And I
Yeah.
got a song from Gull. What more could a man ask for? Howling at Bygone with the Cockney accents. P.S. My wife says I'm even sadder now. There was a tune which I keep playing to her. Great work,
Oh,
chaps.
brilliant. Brilliant.
Gary
How
Norton.
we affect people's lives is amazing.
Gary Norton, friend of the show, said,
of the
really
show,
enjoyed the
yeah.
podcast, chaps. Simo's going over of the We Are United is a delight, as is Bygone's new series on Roy Keane and Teddy Sheringham. I mean, Klein and Powell. And he says, brackets, that's harsh on Teddy, but he was a bit of a playboy, and both he and Roy played together at 2 clubs. Yeah, fair enough. I'm hoping Bygone continues his voices, a modern day Robin Williams.
Ooh.
God,
Oof. Wow.
there you go. Oh,
Hang on a second.
No.
Have I got to quit now? There's a new impressionist in town.
Well, so he no, because he doesn't do impressions, does he? He just
No.
does other voices. There's a difference.
Well,
see?
I'll tell you what.
And if I was you, I'd be scared because there's a new gangster in town.
No, I was going to say, you say he doesn't do impressions, but his face when he does Grandad Berrigan certainly left an impression on me.
And then we have another friend of the show, Ian Golden, who says, you mentioned a better candidate. Obviously, this is again about Simo talking about the We Are United. And he says, you mentioned a better candidate for Chelsea, which is obviously Chidsey. However, their history seemed closer to Arsenal. I initially thought Chelbridge and Chidsey are Chelsea and Arsenal, but a bit of a mix and match job for both. But then there's Chelbury. Chelbridge, I then thought was Charlton, Dunton Athletic, despite the name, were more like Southampton. And then, to be fair, I won't go into them, but there's another 30 exchanges. And actually, it was really interesting.
Just a few.
I
With-
did
with-
notice that. Suddenly, I'll come back from work and my Facebook was like, you have got 25 new messages.
That's Ian, and also
Updates.
Richard Woods. Richard Woods joined in,
Yeah.
friend of the show, and obviously Simo. So if anybody's interested in that, go to the Champion United Facebook page and have a look at that.
Yeah, if you've
It's,
got a couple of hours to kill.
got a couple of hours to kill. But great stuff. Thank you very much to Ian, and thanks to Richard as well. Terry Angus says, looking forward to this one. A few behind, but I will catch up this week.
Yeah.
Hi, Terry, friend of the show. Adrian Lord. No theme tune
Yay.
for you, this Adrian. He's down tools.
But he's
so-
from the House of Lord.
He goes, wow, 98 down. This was a great episode. Loved the voices. They made me laugh as I walked to my car in Doncaster today. I always loved the Klein and Powell stories. Divided City was a great read. I enjoyed going through the old champs too. I'm currently formulating notes for my voice note for the WhatsApp. for WhatsApp. So yeah, so more on that
Looking
later.
forward to
Hopefully
that.
we
Yeah.
get a voice note from Adrian. That'd be fantastic. Thanks, Adrian. And where are we now? Oh yeah, Ian again says he mentioned this is really interesting. Great info, Ian. He says, yes, this was Mike White's first time drawing We Are United.
Yeah.
Pete Foster did the first two issues, and then the two artists shared duties until issue 20, which was when Neville Wilson drew 5 summer special flashback stories, all linking into pre-season training. Foster was back in issue 25, and White in issue 26. Wilson returned in issue 29, and for the rest of the Champ era, the 3 artists took it in turn. White didn't transfer to Victor. Instead, Foster and Wilson took it in turns to draw. So,
Amazing knowledge.
absolutely
Brilliant
knowledge. Yeah, really appreciate that, Ian. Great stuff. And then lots of feedback this week, isn't there? But we love it. So thank you, everybody, for taking the time.
Good night, everyone. And we'll see you next time. It's now
midnight. Excuse me. You're not hosting. So
I know,
back
I'm just
to Matt
saying.
in the studio.
The mighty world of British comics. Nikos, our friend Nikos says, congrats. So thanks, Nikos. And also, Nikitas says, well done. And says, you're number 1. So thank you, Nikitas.
Hey,
and then
Nikitas,
I knew, right, as soon as he said that, it's Nikitas, not Nikita.
In your little corner of the world. Sorry, carry on.
That's not bad. And then on YouTube, again, Nikos says, a tribute to Mike White's and Barry Mitchell's football comic artwork. Another great entry. That's it. Blimey, that's all the feedback, Paul. I mean, lots there, but superb stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah. And thanks to everybody that's contributed. And obviously, we're looking forward and hoping to get your voice notes, which we'll come on to later on in this episode. But we say it every episode. We really are touched to hear from. We're amazed that we have one listener, let alone that as many as that, and that are compared to actually put pen to paper and give us that feedback. And thank you so much for all of that. But as you know, I like to try and keep a brisk pace. So thanks for starting us off there, Matt. And now we're going to move the ball to the voice of reason, Simo, for We Are United, week 4.
Thank you very much, Paul. And as you say, yes, we're in week 4. And United, after a couple of mundane league games, have really got to up the ante this week as they're taking on the mighty Southpool. Not only 3-time champions, but probably the biggest side in the world at this moment, and with a forward who we will come to love and hate at various times.
Yeah.
A certain Mr. Nicholas, Kevin Nicholas, who arguably is right up there amongst the very best players that this universe has ever seen.
Certainly.
So United do not like to do things the easy way. So we're going to be taking a trip to Goodfield, that wonderful stadium. And Joe's already started off by putting a little piece in the paper that don't write us off. So he's showing his confidence in the lads, get a bit of belief behind them. It doesn't want them overawed by the prospect. And even as we join the players in the as they're getting ready for training, there's even a little bit of confidence there. And Tug and Bill talking, they're feeling that, there's a good chance that they could get there. Semi-finals, here we come. Although one player kind of feeling the heat a little bit is poor old Willie Barnes, who, although it's only been 2 weeks since he scored that cracking winning goal against Leicester Villa, I think he's probably a little bit worried for his place at the minute. And when Fred just makes a throwaway remark about, "Oh, Willie, it'd be nice, about time you got on the score sheet," I think Willie took it a little bit to heart there. I don't think there was any, bad intent there, but I think Willie's feeling the pressure a little bit. But the good news is the squad's got a full bill, clean bill of health. It's only Joe himself that might struggle to make the game, but so it's not looking too bad. And we're almost getting to that stage now where we can name a United 11. We've almost got a full team of players that we can recognise. We've got Hedgehog turning up, not exactly kitted out for United training, with his wonderful "You're a Twit" t-shirt. Brilliant.
Is it Twit? It is Twit. I was just checking.
Yeah,
You're
I
a
couldn't-
yeah,
I
it
couldn't find it,
is. Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely an I. Definitely
you've
an
got
I,
to do a
Matt.
double take, but it is definitely an I. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an I. And he's not really dressed the part. So Joe gives him a little bit of a dressing down. He pun totally intended. So he's offered a bit of a throwaway kit from Fred, but Alex isn't having that. So Joe says he'll arrange some kit for him.
Sorry to interrupt,
Yes.
Simo, but it's just really interesting, like you said, and the way Champ did it there, as you said, in those few panels. But I can't. I'm trying to think. I don't know if you guys ever remember this in any other stories, but off each of the characters, you've got like a little caption coming off, and it's like Terry Evans, youngster, old hand, Tug Wilson, star midfielder, Fred Rimmy, youngster, Tim Stevens, experienced keeper, Bill Shenton. So it really is, like you say, again, in the background, emphasizing to us these characters as the readers that have probably read number 4, but also any new readers, it's kind of helping you along the way as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's not something that I've come across before.
No,
I
I don't ever
I
remember
can't ever
seeing it.
recall anywhere else doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
No,
with things
definitely
like
not.
Roy the Rovers, you've got, obviously, it's a very, very long range story. So the players probably weren't introduced as often, as quickly, were they?
No.
Whereas this, they're trying to throw a lot at you very quickly to kind of draw you in.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
definitely the way to go, I think. The more characters you can attach to, the more emotionally involved you're going to be in the story,
Yeah,
aren't you?
exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I totally get what you mean when you say about, get you to be draw you in. I know. Anyway,
Away you go, Simo. Don't let him get back in. Go on, Simo. You've
not
got
meant to.
possession. You've got
I
possession.
was waiting for the 99 reference. I'm sure he was waiting. He's going to get something in there.
32.
We're only 26 minutes in, aren't we? And he's mentioned it. That's got to be
What
some
was
sort of
that goal?
record.
Was that 32? I
Yeah.
said. Oh, we ignore the number 32 in this place. 32 does not exist. You'll find out when we get to issue number 31. I think I lost number 32. We'll have to skip that one.
Right,
Can't
then I
think
quit.
why.
I'm off. See ya. Bye.
All right then. Oh dear.
Sorry, carry on, Simo.
Right, so they're having a good old training session. They're looking sharp, looking eager. They look like they're up for it, which is it's nice to see that they've, even though they've only been together a couple of weeks, they seem to have developed a bit of belief in themselves. But on the other hand, Joe is beginning to realise there's a little bit more to this management lot than he first thought. He's having to deal with the paperwork side of it and paying bills and various other little bits and pieces. But I don't think it's enough that it's put him off the job. I just don't think he had a full kind of understanding of everything involved. So he keeps his promise to Alex to sort him out with some training gear, which has kind of got to Alex a little bit. He's quite emotional in that somebody's trusted him with a lot of money, which I'm guessing is something that hasn't happened before. He's handed a nice big wad of cash there and told to get down Joe's shop and sort himself out with some gear.
Should put it in a hedge fund.
Oh,
Put them
that's
tish.
I thought you were quitting.
That's-
I thought you were quitting.
I've got to
I thought I'd
admit,
come
Bill,
back just for that.
that is one of your best. I've got
Thank
that.
you.
Yes, credit where it's due, mate. That's top drawer.
Thanks.
No beating around the bush there, was there?
Oh, very good. I'll leave it out.
Oh,
Sorry,
dear
hang
me.
on.
Come on,
What?
let's not end up in the penitentiary.
You want locking up for that one?
Oh, yes. Moving on.
I haven't heard what he's talking about yet.
Oh dear me, you guys kill me. You really do.
Oh, we wish.
All right. While Joe's taking care of business with Alex, Fred's gone to visit Vera, who's not long had a life-threatening operation. So he's gone in to take her some flowers and see how she's doing. But he's now got the enviable task of tidying things up at home as the house and garden's got a little bit out of control. So Not quite sure why it'll take him a week to get tidied up. It must be
yeah.
maybe like, is it how clean is your house or whatever it is? Maybe they could have done with something like that back in the day. It's poor old Fred scratching his head, not knowing where to start. The poor lad. Stick to football. That's what I say. Stick to football. And Joe's obviously got himself a little bit sidetracked with catching up on other sides of the jobs. He's completely forgot that he's meant to be doing at a reception, and not having time to go home. He's decided that the only way he's going to get there looking even half presentable is he's going to have to do a quick change of clothes with Andy Bates, who I think it's safe to say they don't quite match up physically.
No.
There's probably the same area there, but just in different directions. So
Andy looks a bit worried, doesn't he? As Joe just decides to strip off in front of him. Like, where's this going, boss?
So get your jacket and things off, Andy. He's probably thinking, hang on a minute, fella. Easy.
Oh, no, yes, Mrs. Yes. Ooh.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what he sounded like as well, Gull. he looks like, that would be his, or maybe Grandad Brinston, maybe he's got a voice for him somewhere. What would he sound like? He could throw one in there for us by the end of the episode.
I don't know. I'm very limited with my voices. I'm trying to learn an Italian one for this next story.
You're psyching yourself up for that one, are you?
Oh,
Simo is an artist. He's an artist. He needs time. He needs to get into the. He's a method.
He's a method actor. He's getting into the.
What's my motivation?
Yes,
exactly.
Joe, don't stick in front of me. Let me turn me back.
Hello, Granddad Berrigan here. Shut up.
Right,
now we've got Gold doing an impression of Neil doing
an impression. Yeah,
we've got impressions. Oh dear.
Can I just say to the listeners? Can I just say to the listeners? It's going to be a long night.
Wish I could fast forward it. We've got to sit through this.
Yeah, yeah. They can just get the edited down version. Oh wow. Oh dear. Who'd want to be anywhere else? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gone quiet there. Good. That's good. That would have been a bad time for somebody to go, me. Right. So after training, we've got Terry and Benny on the way back to the club hostel, and they've passed what appears to be quite a posh-looking building where they've obviously deduced this is where Hedgehog is living. Although when they actually get to the house, it's a bit of a shock because looks the complete opposite, to be fair enough. Got interesting ventilation where the window used to be. Nice welcome mat on the door. Come in or op it. Always welcoming. And they got in and they found Alex upstairs. He not quite sure what he's doing. Whether he's cooking, wrapping something, or what. But you can see he's living the life of luxury. He's got 4-poster bed, freshly decorated walls, and some more interesting ventilation in the windows. It turns out that he's actually just a squatter. His house belongs to some lord so and so, but they seem to think that the guy's completely forgotten this place exists, and we get to meet a one-off character who will never be seen or heard of again. A fella called Oscar, who comes in scrounging a bit of food, who Hedgehog thinks it appears to be just some kind of random artist guy. So unfortunately, Oscar's got a little bit of bad news for Hedgehog, that the police have been there, and the guy who owns the place wants them out, which I think we might find out about at some point in the future. There might be a little bit more on that somewhere, but we'll leave that for another day. So Joe's turned up for his reception and feeling like a little bit like a fish out of water. He's drowning. He's the suit, we can quite clearly tell, it was definitely not tailor-made for him. He's looking extremely uncomfortable. and he's definitely not wanting to be there. This is not his kind of thing at all. And a couple of the people there are making a few snide remarks about him and not being very complimentary. So Joe can't wait to get out of there and makes his excuses, and on his way out, one of the main guys there decides that he has to go and have a word with him, and says, well, I'd rather be talking to you, Joe, than putting up with these idiots. But good luck tomorrow, and he'll be there. So next we see the players on their way up to the match to Southpool, which, as it turns out, is a 3-hour trip. So there's been like a long-standing kind of debate as to where United are actually based, and on the assumption that Southpool, I'm assuming we are thinking are some kind of combination of Liverpool and Everton.
Yeah.
If that puts them 3 hours away from there, that's quite some distance.
Yeah.
That would certainly put them either well up towards, well, a long way north, a long way north, where you're looking, I would imagine, but South Midlands,
Well, I mean, I was going to say that as well. I mean, either like Derbyshire or South Midlands or something like that. But to be honest, when I went to the ground, I was having a sleep, so I didn't see the signpost to the ground.
Move on, Simon. Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at Riverton there is actually a bit of a one-way system that confuses everybody. I mean, even the signs, they go, I don't know, mate, I don't know where I am, I'm lost. So yeah, it has been one of them long-running things where a lot of people tend to have their own opinions as to where United actually are, but things like this kind of tend to throw it off because the most popular.
I think it's like with Melchester, isn't it? I think
they are some grinds. Yeah, it's very similar in that there's been kind of a general consensus. They're somewhere roughly in the Midlands area, both of them.
Yeah.
But then you get something like this that throws it up. That if they're 3 hours from Liverpool, that doesn't really.
Yeah, always throw it. But it's deliberately vague like that, though, to kind of give all readers, because, like you say, even Melchester, even for Londoners, there's the chance that it could be, but that's why it's deliberately vague, and then it throws in this curveballs that make you think, oh, it could be where I'm from. So
yeah, I think it's so. Yeah, I think it gives everybody.
Coach driver gets lost.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be the case. Well, I mean, it's like the last episode as well. Going back to that just for a split second, when they're playing Chelbridge, you said buses leave the mill at noon. Well, assuming they turn up for kick up 1:30, something like that, you're looking a good hour and a half to where Chelbridge happens to be based as well. So, I think you're right. I think they deliberately do keep United vague so that everybody can.
Yeah.
So that they're based in an area where somebody's got a particular, that they're not going to turn Liverpool fans against them because they're based in Manchester or so on. So it's quite quickly done.
Definitely not Exeter City.
Back to today. Oh no, that would just be scraping in the bottom of the barrel too much, wouldn't it, Gull? I mean, they would never stand for that. I mean, and let's face it, you wouldn't have gone to the ground, would you?
No,
you refused to go if that was the case.
Although I did live right by the ground for a few years, but that's for another day.
Good. Can you tell me where that day is so I don't turn up?
No, I moved to. Sorry to interrupt. I moved to Exeter back in the early 2000s, and I lived about 10 yards away from St James Park, so I wore my Torquay shirt every time I passed it.
Yeah, just for just to improve on that social interaction, wasn't it? Just to make yourself fit in that a little bit better and make yourself very popular with the locals. It's a good way to integrate yourself into the society, that, isn't it? Beautiful.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Love the style. Love it. So they're on the coach, and you've got a lot of players in, got their minds on things. Willie's desperate to score. You've got Fred, having a bit more responsible kind of thoughts about, how he's going to help the kids through, because it's going to be a big game, tough game for them. And Joe, obviously from the financial aspect of what it would mean to the club, who are still, in massive difficulties with debts. So they've got a lot to think about. we get to the dressing room just before the game, and Joe's expecting Southpool to really lay it on him and go for the jugular right from the start. The players are starting to get maybe a little bit edgy. One or two of them feel a bit better if Joe himself was playing, and Tuggs had a little bit of a pop at Hedgehog, but Hedgehog in true styles having none of that. He's no shrinking violet. He's giving it straight back. So they run out onto the pitch, and they've actually looks like they've got a good bit of support behind them. They're getting a few shouts of United. Although Terry, as we've probably starting to realise by now, seems to think that it's all for him. There's no such thing as United team. It's the Terry Evans Appreciation Society. We get our first look at a certain Mr. Nicholas, who's giving Tim Stevens a bit of the runaround. Although this is not the Kevin Nicholas we are used to seeing or will get used to seeing.
No.
He's got a very, very different look on this particular day. But,
well, this particular panel.
Yeah, because even in the pre-match, he looks a little bit closer to what we come to, be accustomed to. But yeah, he's definitely looking a little bit different here. Could he be an imposter? Who knows? So yeah, he's done Stevens all ends up, and he's through with one-on-one with Bill Shenton, and it looks like United's got away with one there, as there doesn't appear to be much wrong, but as the ball's ended up in the back of the net, luckily the referee's blown for a free kick to United, so they've got away with one there, which is the kind of look they're really going to be needing. The United start to get a little bit of a feel for the game, and Terry's taking it up, giving the Southpool defence their first test. Plays a lovely little 1-2 with Benny, and he's through, but doesn't really come to anything. I think this just sparks out into life. It's kind of a backs to the wall thing for the some desperate challenges and good physical defending and timely interceptions and covering. They've managed to hold out, but it's not been easy. Not easy at all. Poole are really giving them the going over.
Yeah.
Some of the United directors are in the stands, and I think for some of them it might be the first time they've really seen Alex, and they're not too impressed. Is appear come down. So,
I think you're just breaking up a little bit.
Simo, yeah. Can you hear us okay there?
Players aren't never the chance, but there is something about that he was wearing for that. Yeah, it's everything all right?
Yeah, he seems to be back. I think the pressure of all those Southpool attacks there were interfering a little bit with you. You were feeling the pressure, and you kind of broke up a bit.
Right.
But yeah, you're back with us
for a second.
So if you want to pick it up again, no, you're fine.
You're
back
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, just to be clear,
okay.
we lost you after the first 2 minutes, so from there, please.
You're all right, Simo.
I had no idea I'd lost you guys there. I'm not quite sure where I was when that happened.
You'd just gone through the defending and the directors talking about Hedgehog.
Yeah, there was, and they were obviously referring to the fact that that Joe had been onto them now for a suit, for future engagements, and he's also wanting to get a typist. So it just gives you a taste, a bit of a flavour that there is still, money is still a big issue at the club. So whatever happens, it happens, going on the pitch. There's a bigger thing going on behind it all. There was United being pushed back again. But, Hedgehog has got himself into a decent position here, where he's kind of seen ahead of the play that there's a chance going to come in his way, and he's received the ball and he's avoided what is almost what you could be called an assault, looking at the state of that.
Yeah. it's a studs up challenge there, Simo. We seem to have lost you again. I think the atmosphere at Goodfield is
Just
playing playing havoc with the
broadcasted
line
this
to
down and
Simo.
The lads, he's put it over the bar. He's to the.
Sorry, Simo. Can you hear me there?
You lost me again there.
Unfortunately, basically, just on the two-footed challenge that
Back.
Hedgehog
Hello.
avoided, we kind of then lost you just at that moment.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Right. Lost you because I've just for the sake of the list and the setup of here, I've got my PC with the United strip up on my TV, and that has given me a recording off my phone, which I hadn't actually noticed. I've just looked at, and I've lost the Wi-Fi, so I'm running on 4G at the minute.
Right, okay.
So I'm guessing that's what's happened.
Yeah.
I hadn't because obviously I'm looking at the screen and I'm seeing I've got full bar on the from the PC. I'm not realizing something had happened, but yeah, I have noticed the signal on my phone keeps dropping in and out. So sorry about that, people.
Okay.
This is where my technical issues come from.
It's all right.
Unfortunately, being at the opposite end of the house from the Wi-Fi, it can put me a little bit on the edge if things are a bit busy. So,
do you want to carry on trying a bit more, and if not, we can always cut it. And
I'll just have to keep glancing at it and just
we'll bring one of us off the bench to get it over the line.
Great day, Berrigan here. I'm free.
Yeah, there's only one substitute in these days, guys. But you see, I can't be having you all on now, and I don't want you falling out over it. Yeah, so Hedgehog, did we get the Hedgehog's just avoided the?
Yep, that's it.
The attempted mugging.
Yeah,
and he's dropped the ball in nicely to Willie, who's took it down really well. Good first touch, got it under control, got his sights on the goal, but then Willie has he's had a bit of a rush of blood to the head. He's fired it over the bar with the goal at his mercy. I think that's a little bit of the self-confidence has drained a little bit from the last couple of games, and he's kind of just snatched at it a bit. But they've gone in at half-time, 0-0. Could be a lot worse. Although Terry's not exactly helping the situation by digging Willie out, as is Terry's want. He will do this quite a lot, as people will get to see. As they go back out, he's like, well, give me the ball, Garns, because you're never going to score. And right from the kickoff in the second half, Southpool back on the attack. Nicholas has gone racing down the right wing. Tug Wilson's been left for dead, and he's put a cross in. And Taylor's coming on it and hit a shot flying just over the bar. Once again, Tim Stevens not quick enough. And I don't think even Bill Shenton was getting anywhere near that one if it had been on target. But, the pressure has continued, but Stokes has managed to get a foot on the ball and picked out Alex in the middle, and Alex has decided, right, this is my moment here. I'm going to see how good these guys are. We'll have a bit of the old Alex Hedgehog Jones magic here, and he's keeping the ball. He's gone through two of them. He's made them look complete mugs. He's dribbled his way all the way down. Everybody's got himself in a hole here.
Simo, if we can get back to Alex, he's dribbling through the midfield. Can you hear us?
Free in the centre.
Simo? The line, I do apologise to the listeners, the line to Goodfield is cracking up. It's a hot atmosphere in this FA Cup quarter-final.
Yes.
Simo, we just lost you there. If you can pick it up where Alex is, he's gone through a couple of the Southpool players. He's going down the line. Can you pick it up from there?
Oh, yes. He's taken a couple of them out with a mazy dribble. He's run himself all the way into the cup.
Go on, Hedgehog, get it over, please.
Yeah. Simo.
Simo, please. Come in, Simo.
Ground control to Timo.
Sorry, and you join us here on the Champ We Are United pod. Unfortunately, the lines to Goodfield are currently down. We left the action at a crucial moment, but hopefully we can get Simo back on the line. Simo, are you there? What happened?
Yes.
We heard Alex was down by the corner flag. Can you give us an update, Simo?
I don't know, Jeff. I thought it was a substitution.
Don't know, Jeff. What happened? Has somebody been sent off?
I didn't see a goal.
Right, have I got you back, guys?
Yes, I think so.
Are you there now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So Hedgehog's got himself trapped in the corner. He's got himself down.
Oh, this is going on with the career.
Just put it in the net.
Box. Absolutely.
Can I make a suggestion?
I think, do you know what? Let's summarise there. I think we can see from Simo, Alex has managed to get this across, and it's Terry Evans on the ball. Simo, can you hear us?
It's like refreshing teletext.
Yeah. Evans has fired home for United.
Yeah.
I don't know, Simo, if you can hear. I think we've managed to. So United have stolen a lead there.
I'll tell you something, listeners. Please watch on YouTube. This is hilarious.
It's going to take me a week to edit this.
I tell you what, without being rude, Simo, if you don't mind, I'm going to pick this up and we'll try and see how you're doing. So, Alex manages to get the ball across for Terry Evans. It's a fantastic shot into the top corner of the Southpaw goal, and it's very close to time. And we finish. It's a tremendous 1-0 victory for United, and we see Joe Pearson. He's there, and he's tapping the players, slapping the United players on the back as they came off. Yeah, I know, it's catching the shoulders. It's a 1-0 victory, and the United fans are chanting, "We're going to Wembley." And we see the United coach and Andy Bates is saying to manager Joe Pearson, maybe not the best that they've been, but they've certainly got something to work on. And it's a 1-0 victory. And we see Joe Pearson has actually got a gift from the board. He's got his dapper suit, hasn't he, Simo? You back with us? Seem to be. We can sort of see you a bit more now. But the final panel. I thought I'll finish this off. The final panel.
Oh,
no, Simo, you're not there, mate.
Well, we knew
the final panel is Willie Barnes looking very contemplative and thinking to himself, he's missed a couple of real sitters today, and if he doesn't score in the next game, he's out, and he might never get his place back. And that is episode
99.
Yeah, episode 4. Maybe with a little bit of a remix. We'll see what we do here. I think we got through it at the very end. But the main thing is it was a cracking United result. And United have beaten the mighty Southpaw 1-0 in the FA Cup quarter-final. And they are through to the FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
You say 1-0. They won 1-0. I have no idea.
Wow.
Well played, Simo, though. And yeah, I mean, I look forward to part 5.
Well, that was a disaster, wasn't it?
Well, we've got there, Simo. We'll see how you're getting on, but let's. Well, unfortunately, we can't have too much of a
problem now because now I've got you guys all back on the screen. I can see all of you losing.
Yeah, because you've got no Wi-Fi.
So,
yeah. You're really in and out, Simo. I think for the sake of episode 99, I'm going to move it on and apologise.
Yeah,
we'll try and catch up and see what we can do.
I'll have to do what I did with episode 2. If we cut that bit out, and I'll phone it back in.
No, it's fine. I think we got
through it. Yeah, we got enough.
I think it works good enough.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I think we can have a bit of a laugh of it as well.
Yeah.
This doing it on the phone business just isn't going to cut it. It's clearly I'm going to have to I'm going to have to find a way to get it working through the PC because, like I say, the PC's work no problem, fine, full signal, but the phone's dropping in and out all the freaking time. So
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I thought it was Champion United by Norman Collier.
I'm gonna be really rude here, guys.
Yeah,
I want to move the pod on. So thanks for that, Simo. Fantastic. We've got through the 4 episodes, and I'm going to move it on to mute button that for a comic book life, I believe, of Sammy Spangler.
Yes, thank you very much, tangential one. I think that's how we have to talk to you now, isn't it? I think.
Well, it works for me. I don't know about anybody else.
Okay, right, okay. Before I go on to Sammy Spangler, I'm just going to do a bit of a quick part 2 of. Obviously, I did Jack and Jimmy on the last episode, because you mentioned a couple of things. And you said about the fact that you noticed that Castleburn City had a different shirt.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I just managed to find in the stories where that actually was.
Oh, right, fantastic.
So I'm just going to share my screen in a second. Bear with me a sec. Where is it going?
So we're going to be looking for the famous chevrons.
Yeah.
Chevron 6 lock.
People that will surely recognise this kit from the Score annuals and Scorcher annuals.
Right. Okay.
From the Jack and Jimmy story. Here we go, Matt.
So here we have here. You see that screen there, Jimmy of City?
No, we've got a lovely picture of the countryside.
Yeah,
this is. I tell you what, let's get all the gremlins out in episode 99 because 100's going to be a great
played on
one.
that pitch.
That's the famous sloping pitch,
familiar.
Yeovil Town.
I think you'll find. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bygone. That actually was a field before Barnes United turned it into one of their football pitches.
He just needs Fatty to roll it.
Yeah. Right, we've got Jimmy of City on the screen now in the studio.
Right, okay. You've still got it there, yeah?
Yep, that's there.
Yeah,
that's there.
Got it.
Right, okay.
We're going to win awards for this, I tell you.
Yeah.
Right, Jimmy of City. So here we have. So we've got Castleburn City. They're actually playing a team, and let's have a look at the team. The team, they're about to play. Oh God, this is going well, isn't it? Yeah, they're about to play Sandport, and the problem is Sandport, yeah, but they've got a dark strip, and so they're worried about that.
Right.
So they're actually talking about this. They don't say what colour they're playing in, but they say they're in a dark strip. Oh no.
Yeah.
Castleburn City got to play in a dark strip because Sandport playing the same colour strip as them. So they're out on the pitch, and you've got Clive, who's the brother of Jack and Jimmy, and he's actually saying to his mum, he's saying, "I can't see Jimmy. Where's Jimmy? I can't see him." Because he's looking for Jimmy in a light shirt, but he can't see him. He hasn't realised that there's another team's wearing a different colour shirt. And she says, "You're looking in the wrong place, Clive. City have changed their colours." There he is. He's a bit slow, is Clive. Anyway, so the game starts. Castleburn City are in the dark shirts. Jimmy's got the ball. He gets on a bit of a run, but he gets his head's down and he's trying to pass the ball. All we can see is socks. But he forgets that he's in the change strip, so he passes to a Sandport player. So he's like, "What are you playing at?" Jimmy goes, "Oh, sorry, wrong colour socks. I forgot we changed." So anyway, the game continues, and it causes a bit more confusion as well because as a defender, a Castleburn City defender called Sandy Beach, genuinely he's called Sandy Beach. He plays the ball to a Sandport forward, and he scores the goal. So it's causing them a few problems. So what they do, move forward to next week, and now you see the Jimmy of City on the screen. Can you see that, guys?
Yeah. Brilliant. That's it.
Now you've got the famous chevron because Eric Clark, the manager, came up with a great idea that they'll change their strip. So they've changed their strip so it's called No More Further Confusion. What's interesting is they don't actually say what the colour is. They just say it's it's a bit like frustration, a bit like Real Grand Parla with, in Void of Rovers, is that you don't actually know what colours they are.
Yeah, it's different. I'm not sure there is a. It's
I think
like
it was on
green and gold type, isn't
I
it?
was say it's on an annual, isn't it? One of the
annuals.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yellow,
Yeah, because there's a team strip, wasn't there? A team photo, wasn't there? But anyway, but that's
it's on the front cover. Is it like an head in the ball or something?
But that's the reason why they changed the strip.
1973 or something, 70, something like that, 74.
But anyway,
struggling to find that.
It doesn't matter.
Well, so what we can exclusively reveal tonight is that Alex Ferguson obviously read Score and Raw. Yeah. And that's where he got his original Dell, that Manchester United at the Dell. That's where he got his excuse from. He thought, oh, I remember that. Jimmy of City. I'll use that for the reason that we're losing here at half time. Yeah.
There you go. So Alex Ferguson,
brilliant
Score and Raw. Then finally, before we move on to Sammy Spangler, I just wanted to talk about his tangential one. Tangential one. This is in the Marx Brothers when Terry Marx goes on loan to Castleburn City. So here we've got the chevron shirt again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So this is where Kings Bay are, they're on their way to the FA Cup final. I won't cover the whole story because you might cover it in a future episode. But yeah, so this is where on the screen there we can see Terry Marx, and obviously the Marx Brothers, like we said before, and Jack and Jimmy were both drawn by Barry Mitchell. So yeah, so I just want to cover that quickly.
Yeah, brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Right.
No, brilliant. Appreciate that.
Now,
it's great how they link then up into like Roy the Rovers world, and that it's amazing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Right. Now, it's going wrong, isn't it? It's going Pete Tong.
This goal as well was on mute all of a sudden. Oh, he's back. Wow. It's been an amazing 98 episodes. We said we were struggling to get to the 100th one, and I'll tell you what, the guys are doing their best to get us through.
Can you see this?
Might go into injury time tonight, I feel. Yep, we're there. Right. Jumbo Trudgeon is injured.
Okay, right. Okay, so Sammy Spangler, this is your comic life, or this is your comic life.
No. Yes, tonight you thought you were here to do a podcast, but tonight, what's he called? Sammy Spangler? I forgot.
Sammy Spangler.
dear.
Sammy Spangler, this the comic life.
Right. Okay. So let's whiz through this. This
don't start
a bit of a disaster
from the beginning.
Okay. Right. So who's heard of Sammy Spangler? Have you heard of him? Tangential one.
I have heard.
70s porn star,
for instance.
I knew. Do you know what? I knew when you asked that question. I was thought, let's hope Simo's still having some technical difficulties.
And ladies and gentlemen, please tick off if on your Simo says strange things bingo card you had, is he a 70s porn star?
So it's December 19. The reason for doing this is that I know it's been mentioned. He's been mentioned a few times before on other shows, and it's around about 50 years because it was in January 1975 that his story really kind of came to head. But in December 74, so this is in the Royal of Rovers. So this is in Tiger, in the Royal of Rovers story. So the background is Jumbo Trudgeon, who's the millionaire forward for Manchester Rovers, is injured, and we've got Rovers manager Tony Storm, because Tony Storm was the manager taking over from Ben Galloway.
Yeah.
Roy was captain. They go off with the Rovers chief scout Archie Miller, and they're going to watch a great discovery. So Roy's in the car, and they're like, where are we off to? And he said, oh, well, yeah, he lives in Melbourne, this great discovery. And they turn up, and suddenly they're outside a circus, and it's called Spangler's Circus. And they went, what's going on here? And it's like, and Archie's like, step on it, Roy, will be just in time to catch his act. And they sit down in the circus, and they can see there's some horses going around the circus ring, and they're going, "What's going on here?" And then suddenly a ringmaster comes out and goes, "And now, ladies and gentlemen, Spangler's Circus proudly presents the most amazing balancing act you've ever seen, the marvelous, the magical, the one and only Sammy Spangler." And then what happens? Suddenly, on a unicycle, we have this guy comes out and he's balancing a ball on the end of a stick, and he's got hooplas going on his right hand, and he's juggling balls in his left hand. And Tony Storm is going, "I don't believe this. You brought us all this way to watch a juggler." And they're going, "Yeah, well, just watch." And then suddenly, one of the kind of stagehands throws some footballs towards Sammy Spangler. And whilst on the unicycle, he starts then does some keepy uppies, and he actually then hits the balls up in the air, and they land on his head. So he's got 1, he's got 2, he's got 3, and to prove it's a circus act, he says the famous circus words, "Hup," because that's all they do. Like, whenever they do something, an act, they go, "Hup." That's what they do. I remember that from my circus days.
Go on, do it again. Do it again.
You know, whether you're on trapeze or you go, "Hup," that's what they do. So he does, "Hup."
I don't think
goes,
I
"Ha!"
told you guys, did I? I used to work at circus.
He certainly were today.
Yeah, I was at the circus for 9 years. I was the human cannibal. I used to get £20 a show, plus a little bit of mileage.
Oh,
Hey.
but
In fact,
there you go.
when I was too old to do that, they even kept me on for another 5 years because apparently I was the only one that could get the tent back in the bag.
He's back. Yeah, so you got Sammy Spangler, and he's now got 5 balls balancing on his head. And, well, I mean, they're amazed. Tony Storm's going, "Good grief, those balls must be weighted," but it's still a fantastic trick. Yeah, I know, Dot's impressed as well. Then he does a couple of other tricks. He's got a ring that's going backwards and forwards on a pendulum, and Sammy then hits the ball when it goes right through the middle of the ring into a net, and he does it every single time. And it's just, they're amazed, and the crowd is amazed. And Archie Miller's saying to Tony, "See what I mean? If Sammy can adapt his skills to soccer tactics, he's just got to be a well beater." But you know what? Tony Storm, to be fair to him, he's not sold yet. He says, "Oh, well, that remains to be seen. Let's have a chat with him first, and we'll take it from there." Anyway, the story moves on. Tony decides to give him a trial. But they turn up at the Melchester Stadium. Interestingly, it's not called Mel Park at this stage. It's still the Melchester Stadium.
It's the Melchester Stadium.
Yeah. And you've got Jeff Giles there saying, "Tony must be daft. He's given a trial to a circus juggler." You know, it's crazy. Tony has a bit of a chat with him, saying, "Look, remember, it's a team game. Individual skills are okay, but you know, just..." And Sammy's like, "Yeah, okay, Mr. Storm, I'll go easy." So anyway, he gets over the ball, and he's doing his tricks, and he cushions the ball out, controls it, and he's balancing it on the back of his heel, and he's going, "Hup, hup, hup." You know, he can't stop doing this bloody hup. You know, he's not in the circus now.
Yeah,
just can't stop himself.
Fantastic.
And Jeff comes out with the suffering catfish.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen or heard that phrase before.
Catfish.
Suffering succotash. No, suffering catfish.
Succotash. Yeah. Then Sammy crosses the ball over.
Do you want me to try?
Go on then.
Hang on.
No, I don't want you to try. And so he crosses the ball over, and Roy heads it in. So he's doing, and then he backheels it through lofty peaks, legs, and it's like, wow, he's doing incredible. But and his dad's there, and he's going. Sammy's dad is, "I told you my boy would be too smart for this game. He'll help you win so easily. The other teams will lose heart and retire." And Archie Miller's going, "He's right, Tony. You've just got to sign him." And Tony Storm, I haven't even mentioned his hat, his bucket hat, his famous beatnik kind of
yeah, I know.
flower power bucket hat, which Tony Storm used to wear. And he's going, "Are they right? Is young Sammy really the discovery of the century? Or am I making the biggest mistake of my life?" In bold letters. So it must be, dun, 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 dun. Well, we'll see. So we move on. So what's happened up to this stage is that actually Sammy was named as a sub for a league match. He turns up late to the match. Rovers actually go 4-0 up. But then Roy gets injured and they end up drawing the game.
Wow.
And so Sammy turns up just right at the end of the game because his dad's car broke down anyway. So, there's question marks over him already, surprisingly, being a circus juggler. I mean, I don't know why. So Roy's there, he's in the garden and he's like doing some leg exercise. He's going to be fit. So he's injured in the last game, he's going to be fit. And they're playing in the third round of the FA Cup. This is January 1975, and they're playing against non-league Sleaford Town.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Slade, for some strange reason, is actually staying with Roy at the moment. So anyway, he's in there and they go off. They're watching the TV and they can see the Sleaford Town manager's been interviewed on TV, and he's got his bow tie on and some sort of checkered suit. Strange. Anyway, he's kind of he's drumming up their chances, saying, "I think we've got a good chance of winning the game." And Jimmy Slade's there going, "Rubbish! Surely he's not suggesting that a non-league side can beat the Rovers." And
Matt, is there any truth that his team talk was, "We're absolutely going to demolish these guys, even if any doubt, go for the jugular"?
Very good. Oh dear. And then now they're in the car and they're driving off. So you've got Penny, Jimmy, and Roy, and Jimmy's like being really quite cocky, like he was when Jimmy Slade first kind of joined the Rovers. Yeah. They get to the ground. Sammy's doing some sort of juggling skills, and they're getting ready for the game. And Tony Storm comes over to Roy and says, "Oh, the directors are a bit worried about Sammy. They feel I should bring in a bit more experienced reserve into the game into the team for the cup game." And so you can tell there's question marks already about Sammy from the directors, and they're questioning Tony as well. And they've kind of left the final decision whether to play him down to Tony. And Tony's like quite firm. He says that Sammy will be playing against Sleaford. I'm still the manager, Roy, and I wouldn't have signed a lad if I didn't think he can do the job. So so it moves on to the game, and some of the fans have got wind of the fact that there's a bit of disagreement between the directors and Tony, but they're all outside the ground, and Sleaford is. So it says they're not far from Melchester. Doesn't say the distance, so we can't say, but it's not far.
Yeah.
But it's like it feels like it's one of those towns, small, maybe market town or something like that, where the whole town is out for the game and all the shops have been closed. That whole thing. They've gone
not a million miles from you, is it, Paul?
No, I was thinking that myself. Yeah, exactly.
They get to the ground and it's a cramped little ground, and there's a little hut for them to be changed in, and they're going, "Oh God, it's going to be like changing in a rabbit hutch," which is fine for Sammy because luckily enough, as you can see in the next panel, he's balancing his kit and boots on his head. So it's quite handy having juggling skills or being a circus act. The game starts and the ground is absolutely packed out, and quickly, Roy says to Blackie, "We need to get Sammy into the game as quickly as possible, get him on the ball. It helps with his confidence." So Roy passes the ball out to Sammy. He's out on the left wing, and he's going down the wing. But all of a sudden, the packed ground, a barrier collapses, and just where Sammy's running into down the left wing, and they're going, "Oh my good grief!" Some of the fans are spinning on the pitch straight into Sammy's path. Next week, see what's happened. So we see that Sammy's going down there, and he panics, and he boots the ball up in the air, just thinking, "I've got to get rid of the ball, got to get rid of the ball." The trouble is, he's booted it the wrong way, back into his own half. Goes straight to a Sleaford forward. He nods it down, goes, "Yours, Mike, try first timer." He smacks it with his right foot. It's there. Sleaford.
Hey, Grandad's back.
Won it well. Yes. Yeah, I think Grandad was playing up front for Sleaford that night.
Yeah,
that day. And so it's a goal. Roy's protesting to the referee and goes, "Come on, ref, surely you're not going to give that. What about all those fans spilling on the pitch?" And the referee, it's a weird referee, goes, "They didn't interfere with play, Roy, even though there's fans on the pitch."
Yeah.
The police had the disturbance under control as quickly as it started. And actually, it's not my fault that young Spangler panicked and gave the ball away. Thinking it's not really for the referee to kind of dig it in, did he?
Exactly,
really?
yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't give him a yellow card for going into the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, the game continues, and they've got a Sleaford fan, Sleaford, and they're doing all the attacking. Roy's playing deep, and he's thinking, "Well, see if I can spot Sammy, a bit of Spangler magic, we'll knock him off their perch." He passes to Sammy, he catches it on his instep, but Sleaford are realising if they just play the game tough, that he's he can't handle it. So some
Yeah.
tough tackles are going in, and every time he gets the ball, he just can't keep hold of it. Then he thinks, oh, you know what I'll do is I'll run for the defence with the ball bounced on my head. That'll work, right? So suddenly, then you see a shot of him in the next panel, and he's running. He's just running with the ball stuck to his head in between the players, and he goes past 2 players. But then he comes up against like 3 7-foot tall players, who just he just runs straight into them, and he's going nowhere. So they've definitely got him rattled. And they're giving him a hard time, and Roy's like going, "Oh, we should have thought about this before we signed him on." Roy's already he's kind of almost throwing Tony under the bus here by kind of saying we should have thought about this. At this point, Sleaford boot the ball up in the air and goes back into the Melchester box, and a Sleaford forward, he smashes it in, and it's there. 2-0, Sleaford 2, Melchester Rovers 0. Roy's now he's really getting quite irate, and he's going, "Look," Lofty says, "I can't believe it. We can't be 2 down against a mob like this." And Roy's like, "Well, that's what the scoreboard says. I think it's time we started behaving like the best team in the country." So Roy's really kind of, he's on the ball now, and he's driving forward, and he's actually taken about 3 or 4 Sleaford defenders with him, and he's gone down the right, and then he thinks, right, you can see Sammy, he's free in the middle. He passes the ball over to Sammy, and it's a great pass. He can't miss it. All he's got to do is put it in the net.
Yeah, it's got to be, surely.
Well, yeah, but then Sammy goes, I know, I'll try and fox the goalie with one of my spinners. No, Sammy, no, Sammy, what are you doing?
No.
But before he can even do one of his spinners, the goalie smothered it. It hits the bar. It comes back out to Roy. Roy misses it, and it's like, And Jeff is going, why in thunder's name didn't you hammer it, Sam? And he's going, oh, sorry, I guess I tried to be a bit too clever. So, I mean, yeah, Tony Storm's had enough.
Can you blame him?
Yeah. But an interesting, what happens next is that he decides to pull him off, which you'd think, maybe give him a massage might help him. But I mean, pulling them off, everyone's got their own ideas.
That's a bit extreme.
But Tony pulls him off.
The ball juggler.
Almighty. Dear. Get it out before the 100th episode, guys. That's all I'm going to say. Just get.
So I can make an observation just before you carry on. Sorry, just 2 things. One, there is a Sleaford town in non-league in Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And also, I just need to check the score. Was it 2-0 or irate?
What?
2-0 or irate? Irate. He said it. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah,
Back to Matt.
Okay.
Back to Matt in the studio.
We got it, Bill. We got it.
So anyway, they made a substitution before half time. And Roy's been quite friendly towards Sammy. He said, look, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. Just got plenty of time, natural talent that we can work on. Remember that when I get to the end of the story. And Sammy's like, but it's a vital cup match. It's not the time or place to do it, is it? Don't worry, I understand. Bless Sammy, so he's going off. So anyway, the game continues. But Blackie's saying, Tony Storm's going to be in trouble now because clearly Tony Storm's the one who's actually signed him.
Yeah.
So the game restarts. And Roy backhills it, and Mervyn Wallace is there, and he scores a goal. They're back in it, 2-1, 2-1 to Sleaford. 2-1,
2-1, yes.
So, and Roy's like, come on, let's give them 2 lads, plus a couple more to make sure of it. They really want to kind of take Sleaford to town, literally Sleaford town to town. And Roy hits the post, and the keeper makes a punch, and it's like only 5 minutes left, and they're still clinging on to the 1-goal lead. Sleaford are. And it's another ball into the box, and Lofty peeks up, and he nods it down, and this is it. He's knocked it towards Roy. Surely he's gonna. And Roy dives in. What a goal! But no, the ref's blown his whistle before the ball's entered the net.
No,
and it's like, and the ref's there like, sorry, Roy, it's a free kick to Sleaford. Peak pushed the defender in the back as he was going for the cross, and Jimmy Slade's there. Oh no! Boy's like, just steady, Jimmy. I know it's tough, but we can't argue with the ref. And then on a special Tiger and Scorcher action replay, you see that the ref was right. Lofty Peak had pushed him almost like Bionic Man. You can see it really kind of slow motion. how he pushes the defender. So he's right to disallow it. But before the free kick could be taken, the referee blows the whistle. It's the end of the game. Sleaford have pulled off the shock of the century. This is the shock of the century in 1975.
Shock of the century.
Amazing.
Was it a TV
now
program?
from
Shock of the
Norwich.
century. It's the quiz of the week. And so,
Look at Bygone. No idea. He has no idea what we're talking about.
He's not the only one.
who does? Answers
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
postcard.
Yeah.
They knocked the Rovers out of the cup.
I've got 3 fans, remember?
Finally, you do actually. Sorry, more than all of us. So, and finally, the Melchester directors they turn to each other and they go, "Well, gentlemen, I think we all agreed on the cause of this disaster." And one of them says, "Yes, young Spangler, and the way he was handled by Tony Storm." When you say handled, the pulling off, I don't know if they're going there. I don't think so. And then the other one goes, "Reggie's right. Perhaps it is time that we found ourselves a new manager."
Wow.
And that's the end of it. And after that, Tony Storm disappears, and not long after that, Roy becomes a player manager.
And do we hear of Sammy Spangler again?
And we never hear of Sammy Spangler. I mean, after this, I think he does. They talk to him after the match, but he never reappeared.
So right.
But it was jelly leg.
Interesting. Well, I've got to say, I don't know how Simo's line's doing at the moment, but I've got to say, Matt, that's amazing because you brought us the revelation. Obviously, Sir Alex Ferguson, red scorer on Raw, but now if in that match you showed Sammy Spangler when he was juggling the ball with his head there. I mean, if I mention the name Curlon, do you remember the Brazilian player Curlon, otherwise known as the Seal? I'm thinking his father must have read Roy the Rovers, and that's how he taught his son to play football, right? So that's 2 big stars that have obviously been reading these comics.
Well, this is it. The comics that they drive the agenda, don't they? They don't copy.
No,
football.
They're
football copies the comics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've got Alex Ferguson using the Castleburn kit change to his advantage to cover up a disastrous first half at the Dell. And of course, Curlon, who unfortunately didn't quite make it, but as they used to say, imitating the Seal, actually copying Sammy Spangler.
Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you did.
I think I think after that, I think he went into confectionery because didn't he come out of his own sweets, the Spangles? So maybe that was what he did. That's when we never saw him again. I don't know.
The Spangles.
Oh yeah,
Spangles.
They were
You remember
good.
the Spangles?
They were good.
Yeah.
Oh
the
yeah,
Spangles,
I used to really like Susanna Hoss.
That's good.
Right, as well. We've got there. I don't know how. It's been an interesting episode so far. We've got through another feature, and guess what? We're going to try yet another one. So, Neil, over to you and the Iron Man.
Hiya.
Can't be any
Hang on,
worse. can
wasn't
it?
Tony Storm the Iron Man?
So, welcome everybody. Hope you enjoyed the last Klein and Powell story. And this week, well, tonight's episode, we've got the next time that they featured, which was in episode 67, and it's called The Iron Man. And on the front cover there, we've got what appears to be Rodney Powell firing in an header past looks like an Italian strip, which we'll find out in the issue that it is an Italian team that is scoring past there. And if you've got it on YouTube, you can see that the back cover is Bernie Slaven of Middlesbrough, who was quite a good striker.
Yeah, very good.
Good player he was.
Yeah, he was a good player. It's nice when you look at these issues, they didn't just feature like the main players of the time as well. They actually went through different, both English and Scottish, and then obviously a few international players as well. Remember Carline's Rummenigge was on one of them, and there was different players which I quite enjoyed. I never took them off though. I always kept them attached. I always make sure.
Sacrilege. That to damage your comics.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, I think we've discussed this before, who the most popular requests were. It was like Kenny Dalglish and Brian Robson, I think the most 2 requests. I think Graham Souness was one as well, the most popular requests for the back page. And I think that was in Roy the Rovers as well. The sign please was always
Sign,
like,
please. Yeah, I must admit, you saying that I didn't realise you could put in a request for the Football Picture Story Monthly,
yeah,
but I
I must
suppose
have
there
read
was
it
the
on the,
address.
one of the
Yeah,
forums,
mm, yeah,
about who was,
mm.
how the,
How they
Was
made
it
the selections.
yeah, they
And
made the
reminiscing on
selection.
the old sign please thing, I've
was
said
it
this
common?
before. What?
I'm not saying.
Pardon?
Carry on, go.
I was going to say my favourite sign please was actually the Walford Rovers, Roy in this blue
Yeah.
kit cover, and
Yeah.
Mm.
iconic for me because you know how much I love Walford.
Well, sorry, but my favourite one was Steve and Terry Marks heading the ball to each other and across the centre spread of Sign Please. And of course, Rick Stewart also appeared on Sign Please as well when he's
He did.
Tynefield United.
And
Top.
Good
Mighty
shout.
Mouse. Mighty Mouse was on one.
Yeah, Mike Mouse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that was
was.
Adam
Yeah,
Woodyard.
yeah,
Adam Woodyard
Was it
asked for
Mighty
that,
Mouse?
didn't
yeah,
Was it
yes.
Mighty Mouse? Was it Mighty Mouse?
Kevin.
Sorry.
Kevin. Right, anyway. So this Iron Man then, so it is a direct follow-up from the last issue, Divide, where it was it ended where the both fans were chanting both Brummington City and Brummington United, and this one picks up now, and it's just before the derby again for Brummington City and Brummington United. They're both in the first division at the time. That's where it ended. The last one, they got Brummington United got promoted, and Kevin Klein's having a last-minute fitness test, and it says here Kevin Klein is this hard centre back who's known as the Iron Man and the Cruncher, the man the fans love to hate. And two groundsmen are just watching Kevin come out onto the pitch, and one just says, "What's going on? I thought Klein was out injured." And the other chap just says, "They're giving him a late fitness test." I'm running out of voices. I've only got the one or
they?
two.
Mickey Mouse.
Well, they can't all be deep cockneys, can they? And he just says, they're giving him a late fitness test, aren't they? Need a match against City this afternoon. If Klein can breathe, they'll have him in the first team. Because it's like a bit of
Birmingham.
Barry out of our feed
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that.
Yeah, Birmingham,
Right.
I'm going to
Birmingham.
quit while I'm ahead on these now. I think. So anyway, Klein's bouncing the ball around, kicking it around, showing that he can tackle hard. And the manager had told one of the players, going hard on Klein, just see how he takes it. And as soon as they do that, the fella just bounces off him. And Klein's putting a really hard challenge. And he just says to him, "It's not your brain that's numb. Your foot and your head are numb after that challenge." He says, "Put your head under a tap and you'll feel better." And he's just picking up his colleague groggily up off the floor. While then it goes on to City's ground, and Rodney Powell's just walking through the ground, and it's got a picture of the manager talking to Powell, and he's just saying, "Let's get over to United's ground. It'll be an easy game this afternoon. It won't be an easy." God, I've got the gremlins, same as you guys.
Well,
So
don't
anyway,
pour
Rodney
water
Powell's
on it.
talking to the manager, and he says, "Right," the manager's like, "Let's go over to United's ground. It won't be an easy game today. They've got Klein back in defence." And Rodney Powell's like, "Klein's playing. I thought he was injured." And the manager's going, "No, he passed the late fitness test. He doesn't worry you, does he?" And he says, "You're joking." Klein's all sweat and groan. "He won't stop me scoring today." But then it goes to like a little flashback, and Rodney Powell's at the local bookies, and he's putting a bet on. And he says, "How you doing, Rod? What do you want to bet on today?" He says, "I've got a cert curler. I want to put a large amount on City to beat United on Saturday." But he says, "City are favourites. You'll have to put a lot on. 100 quid will only get you 30 if they win." And he went, "You're a shark." But yeah, I'm going to put 5 grand on, and that'll make me 1,500 in profit, right? United haven't got a hope without Klein. And he says, "It's a big bet, but I'll take it." And then in the dressing room, the visiting dressing room, which is Brummington City in this case, he says the manager's telling him, "I want a fast start, a quick goal, and then United will fold." He said, "Have you got that, Rod? I want a quick goal." And he says, "Yeah, no problem, boss." But Powell's already looking a little bit worried in the dressing room because he knows what he's got to face. And as we can see, straight away, Klein gets straight into Powell and he smashes him into the advertising boards. And everyone's like, "The Iron Man strikes again. Sort him out, Kleiner." And then on the next bit of action, Klein's bullying him off the ball again with an header. And he's like, "Give us a goal, Rod." But everyone's going, "Easy meat, Kleiner. Another great challenge." And then Powell's resorting to dodgy tactics. He's throwing his elbows in. And Klein's saying, "God, keep your arms, Powell, or I'll pull them off you." And he says, I'll tell the ref that you threatened me if you did that. So just as the first half's drawing to a close, City break through and score 1-0, but it's not Powell who scored, it's a chap called Charlie. And even Klein has to say, I've got to admit that was a good goal. But in the second half, United start coming back into the game, and Klein seems to be now opening them up with passes. And Klein passes a ball through to the striker. Kev Johnson's got it. Bang! He hits an equaliser in 1-1. Great finishing. But the longer the game goes on, the more Rodney Powell became desperate and he's worried because he says to himself, if we don't win, my bet's down the drain. A draw's no use and Curly will laugh all the way to the bank. So Powell just has a quick word with Klein. He says, do me a favour, let a goal in. It don't matter if who wins this game. We'll both finish middle of the table this year. And Klein's a bit shocked. He's like, what are you talking about? Powell says, I've got 5,000 quid on City winning. It's a lot of money and I can't afford to lose it. So make a mistake and let me score. And Kleins don't want any of it. He says, you're a dirty little crook at school, Powell. You haven't changed. I hope you go to prison. But what shocks me about that is they're both middle of the table, whereas the year before,
Yeah.
City were like finishing second in the league. So they've obviously both, even with Powell's goals, they've obviously both dropped a bit. And even with Klein being fantastic at the back and Hardman and nothing now that gets past, they must have let a few in for him to be mid-table with them. But obviously one player don't make a team, does it? So anyway, but it shows in the next few screens that Rodney's got a lot of good skill and he's took the ball down and he's trying to get past Klein. But he can't get past Klein. Klein tracks up, tracks back, makes a great sliding tackle and stops him from scoring. Then just before half time, Powell's through. He beats Klein, takes a shot, and the goalie can only just get his hand to it, and the ball trickles towards the line. But Klein runs in, stops it, and hooks it away. But as he hooks it away, it hits a United defender who were chasing back, and it deflects into the goal. 2-1, and the referee's whistle sounds. And the next scene is Klein coming into the changing rooms, angry, saying it makes me sick to lose like that. And the other players are saying it's just bad luck. It doesn't matter, Kev. It's just bad luck. But then Powell, it just shows Powell and who's got a face smiling because he knows he's just won his bet. And he's like, as he runs outside, there's a paper guy selling newspapers, and Powell goes to buy a newspaper off him. And he said, and the newspaper guy says, that winning goal was down to you today, Rod. They couldn't keep it out, not even Iron Man. And he says, Kevin Klein couldn't keep an elephant out of a mouse hole, Harry. But then he looks at the newspaper and he opens it up and it says, and he's like, what's happened here? Injured Soames is out of the England squad for Italy. Kevin Klein is called up as a replacement. And he's like, they're giving Klein a cap? They must be mad. Throws the newspaper away and is disgusted because Klein's been called up for England. Obviously, Powell's already a member of that England team now. And if you can see on YouTube, Rodney Powell then heads to the nearest pub to go and collect his money from the bookies, and he says, "You want your 6.5 grand, pal? You're dead lucky, an own goal winner." And he says, "That's me, Curly. Lucky, always lucky." Then he's like, "I'll buy a drink for everybody in the pub," and everyone's cheering, thinking, again, you see that the exterior Powell where he's always happy, he's always trying to buy everybody drinks, and then he looks over and in the corner of the bar, he sees Kevin Klein sat down there. And the man at the bookie says, "Oh, Kevin Klein is always in here. He has an orange juice and a sandwich, but he never says a word to anybody." So Klein says, Klein's just keeping himself to self in the corner of the pub. And Rodney Powell thinks to himself, Klein, he won't tell anyone about today what I asked him to do. There's no harm in giving him a little sweetener. Everyone likes money. So Klein is sat there and he looks up and Rodney Powell comes over and says, "Thanks for helping me out. You made that own goal look really good the way you did it." And he says, "I didn't make anything look good, pal. I tried to keep it out and you know it." So he says, "I'm sure you did. All the same, here's £100. You never know when you might want another favour." But obviously, Klein wants none of it and says, "I don't want your money." Throws it across the table, causing a scene. And then Powell decides to turn it around and says, "You know what? Klein said he was hard up and I've offered him a loan, but because he didn't want the money, he got shirty about it." And again, it's that thing where you see the good and the bad, and everybody always thinks Rodney Powell's the good guy and Klein's the bad guy, and that's how Rodney Powell tries to portray him in this instance. The next week, the England squad.
Sorry, Neil. I mean, I was just going to say it's really quite clever from Powell as well, because obviously, if Klein does take the money, he's really got him hooked in
Yeah,
there
because he
as
looks
if he
like a
did do
bribe.
it. And then, of course, by not taking the money, as you say, it makes him look like the villain to all the people in the pub, especially with Rodney splashing the cash and buying everybody a beer.
Yeah, but it's always to Klein's detriment because in one
Yeah,
of the scenes, the pub owner says, if he because he's caused a scene like that, he'll never be allowed in this pub again. And
yeah,
all he's done is say, "I don't want the money.
yeah.
Get out of my pub.
Get out of my pub." But anyway, the next week, the England squad are on the way to Italy for a Five Nations tournament, and as they're getting on the plane, everyone's chanting, "Rodney Powell, you're the greatest," and England can't lose without you in the team. And as the England team are waiting to board, the manager, Ron Buxton, um, says, now Soames is out of the reckoning rod because he's been injured. I'm going to make you skipper. So Rodney Powell, the snide that he is, that we all know, is now the skipper. And he says,
Wow.
thanks, Mr. Buxton. It's a great honour. I'm going to take it. And then the manager's like, right, we're all here. But where's Kevin Klein? Has anybody seen him? And Rodney Powell straight away has to put a dig in. He'll be late. If there's any trouble, Klein's usually the cause. I'm surprised you picked him in the England squad. And the manager says, he's a first-class player. He's been in good form recently. He says, I agree. He's not bad, but he's suspect at times. And he's a bit of a quitter when things go against him. Drops his head. Anyway, now I'm skipper. I'll cheer him up. And it's just always he's painting it. I love the way, like you've already said it. Love the way it's set up. You feel it, don't you? Reading it, you're like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're getting
yeah.
wound
you
up.
know,
Yeah, I know.
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's what the I like. That's why I like these comics because you've got bookies.
Mm.
Obviously we saw in the last story. There's good guys and bad guys, and you wouldn't have seen gambling and betting as much in Roy of the Rovers and maybe Champ as much as you see in these. Like, um, I think we mentioned before in one of the stories, like John Stark in, I think it was in Scoop, he had a heart attack on the pitch and
Yeah.
died. It's just things like that you wouldn't feature. Maybe it's because it's DC as well. Anyway, Klein turns up for a game and he says, "Sorry, I'm late. I ordered a taxi and the idiot went to the wrong house." But the manager's already got one on against him because of what Rodney Powell says, and he says, did it? I've heard that one before. Make sure you get him here on time in future. And he's like, it's only 5 minutes late. It's not the end of the world. The flight don't go for another hour anyway. And he says, okay, stop the back chat. Just do what I tell you to do in future. And Rodney Powell comes over and says, you've made a good start getting on the wrong side of the bus already. And he says, push off, Powell, or do you want to offer me another bribe instead? And the manager's picked up on this and he says, I see you and Klein having words. What was it all about? And Powell decides to put another screw in against Klein, and he says, I shouldn't tell you this, but he said, yeah, they're too big for your boots. And I just said to him, I don't want to hear that sort of talk about the manager. And that's what annoyed him. And he's like, don't worry, I'll keep Klein in order. I'll make sure he doesn't cause you no trouble. And the manager's already saying, so will I. One bad word out of him, and he'll be on the plane back to England double quick. So anyway, the tournament kicks off, and the opening game is against Italy. So it's in Rome v Italy, and the manager's saying the Italians won't give anything away against the home crowd. You'll have your work cut out today. You've got to try as hard as you can to create two chances for Rod. And then so Rod's just having a quiet word with Klein, and he's like, "This is your first game for England, Klein. Let's see what you can do." And he's like, "Everyone knows what I do already. That's why they picked me." And Powell's like, "You're always the hard man. Why can't you be nice for the change?" And he's like, you're joking. If anyone was nice to you, you'd have your hand in the wallet in no time. Stay away from me. Um, so they run out, then England are running out onto the pitch, and the goalkeeper, Peter Bell's having a chat with Klein, and he's like, you don't seem to get on with Rodney Powell, do you, Klein? And he says, no, I'm particular who my friends are, and he's not one of them. And now I do like this story, but I was a bit, when I was reading it, upset that it's not like other characters who are in the England team, like Iron Bar, and things like that. It would have been a good
Yeah.
chance to have some of the other characters in there, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Some of the players. So anyway, the goalkeeper's giving Klein some tips, and he just says, "Keep your eye on there, number 8, Tantelli. He's dangerous and sharp as attack." And he says, "I'll know him around soon enough." So anyway, the game kicks off, and Italy moves straight on the attack, but Tartelli controls the ball in one go, and the manager's just thinking to himself, Klein couldn't have had a tougher start to his career. Tantelli's brilliant, but Klein took to this like a duck to water straight away. He goes in like a ton of bricks, but the referee's a good ref and he realises it's a good challenge. And Klein never gave Tantelli an inch. And even the manager says he's playing a blinder. He was born for top class football. And straight away, Klein brings the ball out of defence, manages to put a cross in towards Powell, but Rodney Powell heads it and it just gets tipped over by the keeper. And as the match wears on, Tantelli's not having a sniff at all. Klein's got him in his pocket, using nice pieces of skill to keep the ball from him. And again, he keeps making these attacks, getting the ball up front, giving it to Powell. And no matter what Powell do, though, he can't beat the keeper. And the game ends in a 0-0 draw. And the manager's well happy with Klein. He's like, you played Tantelli out of the game. But Klein's just modest and says, that's what I get paid for. But Powell's a little bit jealous at the back, thinking, I didn't think Tantelli was that hot. Anyway, 3 days later, England have got to play Spain. And again, Kevin Klein's having a great match, making sure he's there for all his tackles. And even in this game, Powell starts to perform and knocks in a hat-trick. Then in the next game, they play Holland. And again, Rodney Powell scores again on a nice little scoring run. And England have got a rocking defence now. They've got Kevin Klein and he's breaking up another attack from the Holland team. And then again, Klein's passing the ball about. So he's a bit of I don't know what, he's not a proper centre back. He's got a bit of like a libero. You know, he's not only is he good at breaking up play, he can actually pass the ball as well.
Yeah,
he plays it's like a defensive midfielder in modern football. Anyway, he hits a long ball up and that gets headed on to Powell. Powell hits it first time and he scores again and he says, I'm really enjoying this tournament. Everything's going right for me. And as the Dutch team start to crumble and fold, Klein's now up in attack with him and he's back-heeling the ball. He's a bit like Cruyff now. Back-heeling the ball to his teammates and he scores another goal and they've just ripped Holland apart 3-0. So they've got about 5 days before the final game against France and England are having a bit of a rest. They've gone swimming and Klein's just took all his clothes off except his little trunks and he's going to have a snooze by the pool. And then we see the next scene is Rodney Powell driving around in this flash sports car, open top sports car. And everyone's like, wow, where did you get them wheels from, Rod? And he's like, I bought it dirt cheap, 500 quid. He said, some Italian football fans let me have it. He said, I couldn't believe it when he told me the price. I'll be able to flog it before we go on for 5,000, make me a nice little earner. Then next thing you know, he's in his budgie smugglers at the pool with Klein, and he's like, you're frightened of the water, aren't you, Kleiny? I'm going to have a bet, £50, that I can jump off the ice top board, diving board, and he says, and you'll be too chicken to follow. So there, Klein goes on the top of the board, jumps off, and does like a little bomb into the pool. And next time it's Clement Klein's turn. And they're telling him, jump, Kev, you can just jump. But next thing you know, he does a lovely Olympic dive straight into the pool like a little fish. And he does a world-class dive, and Powell says, you've done this before, haven't you?
I was going to say, I would have gone with like a Tom Daley, yes, but fish, yeah, fish goes
Fish
well.
are famous for jumping off the high board, aren't they?
Yeah,
I was thinking of swallow bird, and then I thought, no, I don't know with birds.
All those trout, they're going up the ladder, and off they go off the
exactly.
top board.
He dove in like a little fish just after you release your goldfish back into your bowl. And he was like,
You can have that.
Splash, splash went the water dead smoothly. And he's like, Kevin Klein's like, you underrate people, Powell. That'll cost you 50 quid. And I think he's just showing off, just showing that Powell doesn't know everything. So anyway, the England versus France game starts, and England take the lead. Bobby Radcliffe, I don't know if that's the name of anybody, I've never heard it before. Bobby Radcliffe slides the ball in, and then Powell makes it 2-0 again. But when England's defence line has been breached, Kevin Klein's there, and he's having a really great tournament, seeing as though he's just made his debut as well, and he blocks it off the line. So the 2-0 win against France has put England top of the table. But this is such a strange table. So England finished top of the table with 7 points, and Italy was second with 5. But they both go into a playoff game, so they're going to play each other in the final. So they've got to play Italy again. And they're quite confident about that, because the last time they beat Italy, they turned them over. It was 0-0, but Tartelli didn't get a touch there, Starman, and they think that they'd be confident enough to turn him over. But then Rodney Powell gets called to the desk and he's had a phone call. And then the voice on the other end of the line says, "Do you remember me? Paolo Certi. I sold you a car. I have some friends who would like to meet you." That's Italian, by the way. And Pal's
Brilliant.
like,
It was brilliant, mate. It was
"Oh
brilliant.
yeah, sure, okay,
It's
I'll
a
be
bit like
right over."
Dracula.
Even Google Translate struggled with that.
So then Paul has to meet these mafia people, and he's introduced to him as my friends. So he says, "So England are red hot favourites to win the Five Nations Cup, eh? We like to gamble. We have to put a lot of money on Italy to win. If England lose, we make a
Italy
big
to
profit."
win.
Well,
Italy to win.
Italy to
Brilliant.
win. If England lose, we make a big profit. And he says, "No way. We held Italy to a draw in the first match. We'll romp it this time. We're on form. You are England's big goal scorer, yes? If you are unlucky, miss a few chances, England lose, okay?" If it was Spanish, it would be the same accent. And he goes,
Well, I thought it was Russian.
and he says,
Can
"That's
I
an
can
interesting
I
thought.
just
I wouldn't be very happy, though." Go on.
can I just apologise to Italian, Romanian, French, German, and people from Luxembourg, just in case they're offended.
He says, "If England lose, we'll give you £10,000 to make you happier." And he says, "You mean like a bribe?" And he goes, "Tell him, Paolo." Paolo says, "No, Signor Paolo, no bribe. But we will hold back the car I sold you for £500. £10,000, 5,000, £500. So in other words, he was being tricked.
Right.
Um, Obviously,
No.
there's going to be subtitles on this. Obviously, if you go on YouTube, they'll put them on automatically for you.
Oh dear.
So I think Powell likes the idea of that. Listen, they just say
I
it's
mean,
not our fault if we're bad businessmen. Do you understand, Powell? And he says, "No bribe, just a car transaction. Yeah, I did wonder why I got the car so cheap." He says, "But what if I don't score and England still won?" He says, "It would be unfortunate for you. You would lose your car. You could lose lots of things. Your good looks. Understood?" Anyway,
bloody
Powell's
hell,
like, I think
Godfather
Powell got
Berrigan.
the message there. Anyway, the day before the final, there's a nice picture of Pietro Tantella, Italy's match winner, and everyone says Italy to win the Five Nations Cup. On form, Tantella will not be subdued by Klein again. England will lose out, and this seems to have rattled the players a little bit. There's a lot of talk about it, and Powell's saying there's a lot of money going on the Italians. They've got home advantage. Don't forget. And everybody says, "Hey, yeah, but pal, you've knocked in 5 goals since we drew that first game. You're red hot. Stick in another couple and it'll be all over." But he looks a bit subdued and he's like, "I hope so." Anyway, Klein picks up on it and he says, "What's up with you, Wonder Boy? Not feeling so confident? How come you're not telling us you'll get an hat trick in the first 5 minutes?" And he's like, "Shut your mouth, Klein. I don't need snide remarks from you. Stuff it. Leave me alone. I'm getting out of here. I need fresh air." And everyone's like, "Don't worry about him, Kev. He's just worried about tomorrow's game and he's a bit temperamental." And as Powell goes outside, there's a chap with glasses on and he says, "Buongiorno, Mr. Powell." And he says, "Are you simple-minded? If I'm seen with you, we'll all be in trouble." And he says, "We just want you to make sure no goals, okay? We've got a lot of money tied up in this game." And he says, "All right, clear it before we're seen." Anyway, the game starts. And just before the game starts, they're all in the change rooms and the players are still wound up. He says, "I believe there's a lot of money going on, boss, in this game. What's happening? Italy, I think they're going to win." He says, "And there's rumours about Italy beating us, like something rotten." So the players have caught wind that there's a lot of gambling going on this game, which again, for a magazine that's aimed at like young people, I don't think they'd do this today because obviously problems people do have with gambling and things like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, so the team's just a bit rattled, and the manager's like, "Look, I've heard the talk. It's just gambling talk. Forget about it. Stay cool, and you'll win. We've got the team to do it." Anyway, the manager says to Klein, "Tantelli had an off day in the first game, Kleiner. He'll be looking to get his own back." And he says, "No chance, boss. I'll be in his boots from the start." Which I find a bit strange. I think the manager should really be saying, "Klein, you played really well in the first game. We need a repeat performance today." Which,
Mm.
anyway, Tantelli gets the ball and straight away he's dribbling around the England team. "Viva, viva, Tantelli, Tantelli." The crowd are really up for him. And they skins Klein Straight away, he goes straight past him, and Klein says, God, I didn't realise he could go both ways. He always went in the side the first game. I'll have him next time. Anyway, the next time Tantelli goes past Klein, Klein puts a lovely challenge in and stops the ball from getting to him. This seems to settle England down, and there's a corner, and Peter Bell grabs hold of it and throws a ball out to Terry on the wing. Terry Morani's call, and Terry Ram gets the ball, puts a crossover, and the ball comes to Powell, and he must head this one in, but it just nods it over the bar, and then it's back on again. Tantelli versus Klein, and he just cannot get past Klein. Klein outwits him yet again. Gets the ball, passes it back to Brian Coulson, the England midfielder. Passes it to Powell. It's just an easy tapping, but he hits it straight at the keeper. For some reason, Powell's not playing as well as he should. But it comes to half time, and the manager's like, right, they've taken everything. They've had a go at you, and now it's time for you to have a go at them. Have a go and they'll crack. And Klein's just looking over at Powell thinking, if Powell had kept his cool instead of blasting away like some school kid, we'd have been 2 up by now. And anyway, the second half starts, Italy are on the attack again, and this time they go past Klein and put a shot in. Tantelli hits it. Oh, the keeper just saves it, and Klein's there again to hook it off the line. But as he hooks it off the line, Italy smash the goal in on the rebound, 1-0 to Italy. And you can see the relief on Powell's face. He's like, thank goodness I thought they'd never put one in. Anyway, a goal up and the Italians hang on to it and they start catching England. Every attack becomes an offside and the manager thinks, right, we're going to be hard to crack here. But anyway, again, Klein pushes up the pitch and puts a lovely ball through and beats the offside trap. The captain runs through and England just stick a tap in the net. The Italians all stopped, thought it was going to be offside, but it wasn't, and the goal counts. 1-1 back on, and England go for the winner. And Powell's put through, he's 1-on with the keeper, but unfortunately he runs towards the keeper and he's pulled down. Half-heartedly claims it was a penalty, but you can tell there's just not something right with Powell when he's in front of goal. But Klein's having a storming match, and Tantelli hadn't had a look in. 2 minutes left. Klein heads it down to his teammate, gets it back on the wing. Klein's running through. He's going through on his own. And as he's going through, everyone's going, Klein, 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 score. He's through on the keeper. And all you can hear is a weedy little voice in the background going, don't shoot, Klein. But anyway, Klein ignores him and smashes it into the roof of the net. And England have won. England are chanting, everyone's dead happy. They're doing a lap of honour. But there's just one little face that's not happy, and it's Rodney Powell's. And he says, Klein says to him, what were you shouting, don't shoot for? And he says, I'm in trouble, Kleiner. He said, some mafia blokes have threatened to beat me up if Italy lose, and they'll do it. So he's like, that's why you missed all them chances. And he said, but you got to believe me, I did try to score. I won't throw a game, not while I'm playing for England. And he says, I tried to score, but the difference is I did. And he says, you've got to help me get out of here. I'm telling the truth, it all started with a car. I bought it cheap, it was a setup. And he says, why don't you just tell the boss? He'll make sure no one gets near you. And he says, no, he'll want to know why I didn't tell him before the game, and then he'll think I missed those chances on purpose. I'll never play for England again. So anyway, the bump between them, Kevin had an idea, which Rodney follows. And Rodney's telling the manager, I've just heard on the phone that my sister's ill. She's bad, I've got to go home straight away, and Klein's going to drive me to the airport. And they're like, okay, you can go, you can get an early plane. So both of them then end up driving to the airport, and Powell's got his nice little £500 car going to the airport. And Klein's going, cool it, Rod, you're driving too quick. You'll kill us instead of the mafia. And he says, I can't miss that plane. He says, I'm going to lose £500 on this car, and I can't take it with me. Why don't you buy it? And I'll let you have it for 400. And he says, you're a chancer, pal. Shut it. So anyway, he gets to the airport, 5 minutes to go, and he just manages to get on the plane. And just as he's about to board the plane, he says, are you not going to come with me, Kevin? He says, not likely. I'm going back to the team. Besides, your mafia pals are a bit strong on revenge and stuff like that. They might have a hitman on the plane waiting for you. And Powell goes a little bit white. Then he's like, revenge? Hitman? You're joking, aren't you? And he says, have a good trip, and lets him get on the plane. And then the next shot, the last 2 shots, is where Klein's watching him on the plane, and he says, he'll be quivering like a piece of jelly on the way home, and for a few weeks after that, wondering if they're going to get him. maybe it'll make him change his style. But I don't think so. Powell's bent as a corkscrew and always will be. So I think that's the end of the story. So again, good and bad. And even at the end of the story, people still think Kevin Kline's the bad guy and Rodney Powell's the good guy, which I think is brilliant. And that's it.
Top stuff.
Brilliant stuff.
Bygone, top stuff.
I like that story because again, they both feature for England as well, which is different than Brummington and other league teams.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's interesting because I think you're going to do some more Klein and Powell, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll do it in order.
I think there's going to be another international, and like you said, there'll be some other England stars names that we will recognise from the United verse. But it's interesting in this one, which was number 67 of the Football Picture Story Monthlies. As you say, I didn't recognise any of the other character names. The goalkeeper there, Bell, and Bobby Radcliffe, the goal scorer.
No,
but great story.
Yeah, thank you. I enjoy it. Yeah. I like Powell. I think even though they've been invented for the Football Picture Story Monthly, they're a couple of well-rounded characters, aren't they?
Yeah,
It's a shame
definitely.
that they never were expanded on in any comics.
Yeah, there definitely was scope there for that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think at times we were ever wondering if we were ever going to get through this, but 3 fantastic features delivered by the guys, even through technical difficulties there from the voice of reason's Simo. And I think I'm going to hand over to Matt now because you want to do a bit of a final call for episode 100, I believe.
Yeah, thank you.
100.
Tangential one. Yeah, so this is 99, so we're going to be doing the 100th show in just a couple of weeks' time. So we're really looking forward to that. Like we said before in the last few episodes, what we'd love to have are some voice notes from you, our loyal listeners, or even the disloyal ones as well. There's a few ways you can do that. We have an email address. Thank you for, some people have used that already, so thank you for that. The Melster did that, so thank you very much. And the email address is champweareunited@gmail.com. That's all one word, champweareunited@gmail.com. So send in your voice notes there, or you can just write in an email if you like. We'll take that as well.
We could get either one of the 1,000 voices of Goal or the brilliant accents of Neil Bygone to read them out, couldn't we?
Well,
maybe you could write in your thoughts and say, "Can I have that done in the gangster Berrican style?"
Or Italian.
Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's Berrican.
Indeed. Yeah. So please do that. We've got some ideas for the 100th show. We've got some messages from some of our previous guests, messages from previous hosts, and we're going to do a bit of a look back over the 99 episodes up to date.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to that. But yeah, that's it. So it's 100th episode coming up soon.
Brilliant. Shall I mention the
please
phone number? So obviously I said WhatsApp before, but I think we can probably take voice messages. I just know that WhatsApp is a media that we can record from. But the number is 07923 359 212. So if you want to do a voice note on WhatsApp, please call it in onto that number, and that'd be much appreciated.
Great stuff.
Cool. Well, as Matt said, we're just one away from what promises to be an interesting episode. I think we might actually have a little bit of a bloopers reel, possibly just dedicated to this episode in that 100th one. I think we're getting near injury time, and so we're going to go over to the social media sites. And so I'm going to start with all the wonderful Facebook groups. And I will start with the Champ We Are United and Football Picture Story Monthly fans. Then there's the Roy of the Rovers comic 40 years on, in brackets Melchester Rovers, which of course is the wonderful site created by a friend of the show, Ed Taylor.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. And there's also on Facebook, the fantastic Striker World, all things Nick Jarvis and Pete Nash. And then the other last group on there is the mighty world of British comics, which of course doesn't just cover football comics, but a whole plethora. And there's some fantastic stuff on that Facebook group of all your comic interests there. I mean, fantastic pictures of covers from this date, and there's so much on that group. So, Goal, what about you? Do you want to do the forum and how this podcast all came about?
Well, yeah, if you want.
I do want.
So, yeah, our forum started a good lot, about, I think, in the 1800s. And the address for the site is www.champweunited.proboards.com. And it's pretty much hang on, what's Matt laughing at?
Because you got it right, but you looked like you were going to stumble, and we were both waiting to pounce on and tell you that you'd got the address wrong, just for old time's sake, like you used to love to do to dear old Rabbi.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did stumble. I won't lie. I covered it up well, though. championunited.proboards.com. It's we've got over 55,000 posts there. A fantastic reference site. So if you're interested in any sort of comic, British, American, or anything really, come along, join, and there's a lot of information on there. There's no interaction there, but that all takes place on the socials now. But why not come along and have a look?
Although, to be fair, some guy called Gull did actually post something on there a couple of days ago, so we can find out who that is.
Yeah, cool. That would be. What did he have to say for himself? Judging with a nickname like that, I can't believe it would be of any interest to me. But I'll leave you. You're the voice of reason. I'll leave you to judge that.
I'll have a look. He doesn't tend to operate in any ordinary world, so.
Very good. Very good.
And for the last of the social medias, because none of us have ever been able to master this last part, mute button Matt. Only you seem to have the secret to X, Twitter, Blue Sky, or whatever it all is. Over to you.
I have the key. I have the secret. Yeah, so it's for X, it's at champ_R. That's at champ_R ARE. For Blue Sky, it's at champcomics.bsky.social. And for YouTube, it's Champ We Are United. And yeah, YouTube, we're getting a lot more subscribers on there, lots of views on there. So if you want to see the mess that this show was, because I will edit the audio. That'll sound half-assed, but when you see the video, see how professional we really are.
Oh, exactly.
It's like we were cursed tonight, wasn't it?
Well,
I blame the revolution.
There certainly was a revolution tonight, and with that, let's wrap up, because I've got a feeling I won't be in the hosting chair for a long time after tonight's performance. But Goal,
what?
As sitting in the stands watching those marvellous features, do you want to say goodbye and any last thoughts?
Goodbye and any last thoughts.
Simo.
Yes. I'm here. I'm back. Although God knows how, because I still haven't got a Wi-Fi connection. So my 4G's holding up at the minute. Yes, unfortunately, my section went a little bit Pete Tong, but hopefully we'll have that remedied for next time. It was a good episode, guys, and I will look forward to seeing you on the next one, which I believe, would it be number 100, Goal?
100?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
I can't wait. Yeah. I really can't wait. And just to say one thing, sorry to take over a little bit here. The great thing about episode 100 is it's going to be all about you guys listening, the listeners reminiscing. It's going to be very different, very fun. Please do join us.
Thank you, gents. Gangster Berrigan.
Hello there, senor.
Dear me.
Pizza.
I think.
And tagliatelle. And Godfather.
Dear, I hope our friends from all over Europe are seeing
All
the
over the
funny
bloody
side
world
and
after tonight's
appreciate that
episode.
there's no offence intended. It's just how bad us English are at languages.
I'm shocked. I can't even do my own. I said that last time.
I
No, I hope everyone's enjoyed tonight's episode, and I've enjoyed being with you guys recording it, and I thought that's reciprocated when you're listening. I've been fantastic to actually be involved with you guys for recording the episodes that I have, and I'm really looking forward to the 100th episode and being part of that. I'm proud and privileged to be part of it. So, yeah, that's it. Good
Fantastic.
night.
nice words.
You.
Arrivederci.
Thank you, Neil Berigano. That was that was superb. Enjoyed the show. Well hosted. I think it'd be easier doing 4 episodes of the Rovers European Cup
Yeah.
Winners' Cup run, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Than
I'm going to
hosting
go
the
back
show.
to features, I think.
Yeah. But
And
no, great fun.
may I just, sorry to interrupt you, but may I just interject? Just very important. Who was it
already?
that asked if Tangent was okay? Who was it that asked that?
Hamish Witter.
Oh, Witter from Twitter. Now X. No. Well, the answer is no. He's bloody not.
Thanks for the update, Goal.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think, do you know what? If this is the first champ, we are United.
If I carry on,
podcast
the
you've
goal's only
listened
going to interrupt again. So
yeah,
that's
I
all right.
bet you're amazed that we've managed to do 99 of these. Trust me. As we always say, we are just amateurs and a bunch of football comic books enthusiasts, and I think that's come across tonight. We got through it. I think we have enjoyed it. I hope you have. And this has been episode 99. And yes, we will be back with the magic 100. Good night.
Well done. Top stuff.
I
I'm not going to lie. I